Email BOM declares a 50% chance of El Niño this spring. Possible dry and warm conditions ahead. ABC Weather by Kate Doyle, posted June 20, 2018. 13:31 and 28 seconds. Photo. A dry spring will hurt the wheat belt, where winter rain has declined by 28% since 1990. ABC News. Greg Nelson. Related story. Winter is coming, but it's looking warm and dry for Southeast Australia. BOM says. Related story. State of the drought. How bad is it and why has it been so dry? Related story. What El Niño and La Niña actually mean for Australian weather map. Adelaide 5,000 warm and dry. That has been the story of the season. The Bureau of Meteorology has just declared an El Niño watch, which means that while we are still in the neutral phase of the El Niño's Southern Oscillation (ENSO), there is an increased chance of El Niño in the months ahead, and now there is a good chance that is set to continue for East Australia. El Niño is typically associated with lower than usual rainfall for large parts of eastern Australia in spring, according to senior climatologist at the Bureau, Robin Dewell. We can also see warmer days in the southern part of the country during spring in El Niño, she said. Photo. Sea surface temperatures (SST) and Pacific trade winds supplied. Bureau of Meteorology. What does this graph mean? Trade winds are looking around average for most of the Pacific along and around the equator. They have, however, been slightly below average over the central equatorial Pacific. Winter is an El Niño. The easterly trade winds are significantly weakened or even reversed. Supplied. BOM. Autumn was warm and dry. Winter is shaping up much same, and now there is twice the normal likelihood we'll get a spring El Niño. When we go to a watch, we're looking at around a 50% chance, Ms. Dewell said. So for every 10 times we've issued to watch before, 5 times we haven't actually gone on to see El Niño conditions, but the other half of the times we have. So it is still not a certainty, but it is more of a chance than normal. In a normal year we would only be saying there's about a 25% chance, so it is an elevated risk. How does El Niño affect Australia? If this El Niño does develop, it would be a bit unusual, but it's still a 50/50 risk at this point, she said. What El Niño, La Niña actually means for weather terms such as El Niño, La Niña and ENSO are thrown around a lot in relation to Australian weather, but what do they actually mean? If El Niño does develop this year, it'll be a little later than we typically see an El Niño develop, which can be an indication that it's likely to be weak. Ms. Dewell said. In the past we've had some weak El Niños, which has had very big impacts associated with them and widespread drought across Australia, she said. But this does not necessarily mean less of an impact on rainfall. We've also had some very strong El Niños by many measures, which have had quite a modest impact. So it's really a question of whether we get El Niño or not so much the strength. How do they know so far in advance? There are many indicators that climate scientists use to determine if an El Niño or its sister La Niña are happening or likely to happen, such as upper and lower Pacific Ocean temperatures, strength of the winds, cloudiness, and Southern Oscillation Index (SOI). Values above +7 typically indicate La Niña conditions, while below -7 indicates El Niño. Photo. The Southern Oscillation Index has been in neutral since late April. Supplied. Bureau of Meteorology. But to tell what is likely to happen on the immediate future, they use computer models. The Bureau runs a model on a supercomputer, and there are many other countries which also run these complex computer models, and we look at what they are predicting, Ms. Dewell said. So at the moment we survey 8 different models, including the Bureau's model, and 5 of 8 of those models are indicating that El Niño is possible in spring. But, a little ironically, it is the Bureau's model that is the outlier for the future ENSO outlook. The following diagram shows that the Australian Bureau of Meteorology's model has the lowest likelihood of reaching El Niño sea surface temperatures in November, dragging down the mean. Photo. 5 of the 8 models suggest there will be an El Niño in November, an exception being BOM's. Supplied. Bureau of Meteorology. All of the models that we look at are giving a realistic possible scenario for the future, Ms. Dewell said. When you are forecasting a long way ahead, up to months and seasons, the difficulty is there's a lot of chaos in Environment. Very small, tiny changes to what you feed into the model at the very beginning can have quite a different outcome in the future. Photo. Oh, the chance of an El Nino this spring is 50%. That's double the normal likelihood. Supplied. Bureau of Meteorology. Ms. Dool said that they deal with all the different possible scenarios from the tiny little changes by running the model multiple times, making little tweaks to the initial conditions. We run 33 different scenarios called an ensemble, and all of the models that we look at do a similar sort of thing, she said. Every model that we look at is giving a realistic possibility of something that could happen. Because it's so difficult to forecast that far in advance, we also like to see some early signs in the observations as well. So even though the models are quite gung-ho for El Nino at the moment, we're not saying as many indicators in the actual observations to elevate the risk above a 50% chance at the moment. Should we be worried? With the second driest autumn on record for the south of Australia and a dry outlook for the southeast over the next few months. Photo. It's not looking good for rain over the next few months. If you're in the brown or orange sections of this map, the chance of a dry spring is the last thing many farmers will want to hear. Supplied. Bureau of Meteorology. Ms. Dool said that according to the outlook it is quite likely that we will see less rainfall than we typically will in the remaining winter months. I think the takeaway message here is that it's time to definitely factor into your plans that there is a possibility and a real risk that it will be a drier than usual season in eastern Australia for winter and spring. It's really a risk management type situation where this needs to be factored into plans if you have a sensitivity to rainfall. External link. BOM's July to September Outlook Topics. Rainfall. Drought. Adelaide 5,000, Melbourne 3,000, Hobart 7,000, Sydney 2,000, Brisbane 4,000, Darwin 0800, Perth 6,000. Pacific. More stories from Australia.